So what I've found with Apopka, and if you live there right now, you can let me know if I'm right or wrong, but from the people who've reached out to me and inquired about the area, and also people that I just know that currently live there, they initially started looking there as it was the more affordable option comparative to some of the neighboring neighborhoods that are more popular, i.e. a Winter Garden, a Windermere, or a Claremont, and you don't really lose too much proximity, so you're still close by to kind of hang out in those amenities. But is that all there is to Apopka? Is there any growth for the future? Is it truly a fit for you and your family, negating the fact that it's just more affordable? And so in today's video, we're going to explore just that. Should you or shouldn't you live in Apopka? So before I get out there and start driving, let's get the basics out of the way. Proximity. What are we looking at when we're living in Apopka? You're about 33 minutes to the airport, another 30 minutes to Walt Disney World. You're looking at, again, another 30 minutes to downtown Orlando. And from feedback with clients, when I meet them in person, they're like, you never show how far it is away from like a shopping mall. And so with that, you're again about 30 to 40 minutes, depending on the mall that you go to. So about 30 minutes from the major points in Orlando. So if you're familiar or have been watching my channel for some time, one, thank you. But secondly, you've probably heard me talk about Claremont quite a bit, and I'll actually use Claremont as a very good comparison to Apopka because I do believe they're similar in a lot of ways. Initially, if you remember a couple years back, really all that was coming to Claremont was new neighborhoods. That's just it. And that's exactly where Apopka is right now. They don't yet have a lot of the creature comforts, the pretty downtowns with the mom and pops, the boutiques, the new concepts. And so that is, I know I'm starting on a negative note, but really the negatives of Apopka is that you're truly buying into an area right now that's still growing, actively growing, which is great. And we'll talk about some of the exciting projects soon. Even take, for example, driving through their Main Street area, right? You have McDonald's, you have Popeyes, you have Burger King, I believe I saw a Waffle House, but you don't see when you drive through like a downtown Winter Garden or when you drive through a Hamlin in Horizon West. None of that stuff is there yet. Apopka does have some beautiful outdoor amenities with the Kelly Parks of the world, the Apopka Wildlife Trail. They have a lot of things to do. If you love outdoors, you will love Apopka because that's a really amazing perk of living in the area. But if you don't, you're gonna find yourself driving outside of your city more often than not to enjoy a nice dinner or a nice beer out on the town or a nice downtown area, that kind of thing. And I know for some that might be a deal breaker, but you probably wouldn't be considering Apopka in the first place. You'd be looking somewhere that's really amenity rich. Also, to the point of infrastructure, I find Claremont and Apopka being very similar. Again, they're both not master planned communities. And so with the large residential boom that happened in Claremont, where a bunch of new neighborhoods flooded in and a lot of people came, they're still trying to pick up the scraps from that now in regards to infrastructure and building the roads to accommodate that many people. The same thing right now is happening in Apopka, whereas Claremont's sort of making some headway with that. But in Apopka, it's the same exact thing. There's a lot of people moving to the area already and more to come with all these new neighborhoods. And they're struggling a bit more on that infrastructure side, which could be said for fairly all of Orlando, but it is something to note. Apopka does benefit though from having the 429 really close, and with the completion of the Beltway that I talked about in my previous video, you can kind of zip around Orlando in a circle now, which is really cool. However, I was on a showing this past week in Point Siena. The client knows who they are, shopping for their parents-in-law, and it really opened my mind to the idea not everybody wants to drive on highways. And so if you're somebody that doesn't want to take the 429 and major thoroughways, then Apopka, going through those local roads, you will experience traffic at peak hours, and it might be a bit more cumbersome, but you still have great connectivity to get to Orlando just on a longer timeline. Schools, very important more often than not for clients of mine. And so in Apopka, again, very similar to Claremont, in which you have like South Apopka and North Apopka, defined primarily by two different zip codes. You have 32712 for north, 32703 for south. If you look on this map here that I have from the Florida Department of Education, you'll see rating wise, a lot of the C-rated schools reside in that South Apopka region, with the B and A being mostly within the North Apopka side. Now, Apopka does have 2 private options that are both A-rated on niche. If you want to go check those out, more or less, you have B-rated schools, just depends on where you're going to be in Apopka, but you also have C-rated schools as well. And of course, as a real estate agent, I tend to stay away from diving too much into schools as well as crime and safety, but there are resources that I'll put below in the description for which you can check out to reference those items if you so choose. So let's talk about the real estate. That's what I do, and quite frankly, why I've been missing for about a month on here. This is where a lot of people go, okay, I'm fine with not having the fancy sushi spot right next to me. I'll be driving that 30 minutes if the average price is gonna be in the low 4s, which from a quick search on the MLS here, in the past 180 days, the average price in Apopka for a home is $427,000 for a 3-bed, 3-bath right at 2,000 square feet. And probably one of the best things about the real estate landscape in Apopka is that you have a healthy mix of resale and new construction options, both of which I'm excited to show you right now. Take, for example, this property built in 2019, just over 2,300 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms, and it's asking for $33,000. It's been on the market for quite some time, so I'm sure there's some room there. And by the way, last outfit change of the video. For a single story, this is a fairly spacious home for a lot that's just under a 1/4 acre. And so looking at some of the more popular areas, you'd be getting maybe a new, smaller sized townhome for this price. But let's say your budget's a little bit higher, in the 600s, and you're looking for something a bit larger and having more amenities and space. Well, check out this property, 4-bed, 2.5 bath, just over 2,600 square feet with a private pool. It was built back in 1984, but has gone through a lot of renovations, as you'll see here, since then. And it's sitting on a 16,000 plus square foot lot. As soon as you walk in, the skylight just shines down on you, and it's something that you don't see in new construction homes, which is one of the benefits of going with a older home and choosing the remodeling route, is you get some unique features that just aren't found in new construction today. The effect of character, if you will. But you got direct sight lines to your back patio and pool through that beautiful glass. Living area, quite spacious. Primary bedroom, immensely spacious. Not something you typically see in terms of size today. And you got a really nice kitchen area and a fairly spacious garage as well. And so if you're not looking for new construction, which by the way, in the 5s and the 6s and the 7s, you can easily find that in Apopka. But if you want something a little bit more unique, a little bit more character, older, with the potential to remodel or already remodeled in part, Apopka really does have some unique and awesome homes that could fit what you're looking for. But I know a lot of you guys from the YouTube channel specifically always request new construction. It comes up some point in the conversation most of the time. And so I'm about to show you my favorite floor plan ever by any builder that I've ever seen. It's a relatively new floor plan for Central Florida, and I'll tell you where. This is located in Bronson Peak by Toll Brothers. This is the Falcon floor plan, and a lot of people regard Toll Brothers already as the best production builder out there. Funny enough, I was having a conversation about this with my inspector at a new build inspection yesterday, and he's done well over 3,000 inspections, and it's kind of the same sentiment. They're fairly much all the same. They all make kind of the same similar mistakes. But one thing I really love about Toll Brothers is that they use zip system sheathing. But anyway, onto the Falcon. All right, so really quick, because I do want to get to a development that I think is going to change Apopka for the better. But the Falcon here is a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, just under 4,000 square foot home. I just had a client go under contract on a home of this very similar size, and we really wished they were selling the Falcon in the area that they decided to buy. But let me tell you why this floor plan is quite amazing. Well, for one, you have the 3-car garage setup, and that's standard for this floor plan. As soon as you go in, you have this flex room up front, which can be perfectly used there as an office. This video does not do the width of these stairs justice. Perfect for the family photos at Christmas and Thanksgiving. This is the standard size for your kitchen here, minus all the fancy cabinet hardware and stacked all the way to the ceiling. Really nice size living area as well. You can see that large TV for scale, which leads directly into your first floor primary, super popular these days. Very nice size. And you have a mini hallway for your closet. Going back into the living area, tucked back still on the first floor is another bedroom. Incredibly smart decision for those in your family that don't want to take the stairs. You have an extra bedroom downstairs that they can use, along with the bathroom, which doubles as their bathroom, as well as any guests that come into the home. You got your laundry room tucked back there. Now transitioning upstairs, you got this really big loft area. You do have the option, quite an expensive option, around $40,000, to add a balcony, as you see here, but that's not standard. But this is what really makes this floor plan stand out to me. I had to pull out my laser measuring tool to confirm the size of the secondary bedrooms is a major highlight for the Falcon floor plan. You're talking 19 by 11, 15 by 15, 15 by 14 for secondary bedroom sizes. That's as big as some primary bedrooms in other houses, and usually we see a lot less time and attention and focus being placed on the secondary bedrooms. And so yeah, if you're in the market for a larger home, I do believe this checks a lot of boxes. This floor plan is not only available in this Apopka community, so they are in other areas in Central Florida for different prices. So make sure you reach out. And as always, if you're buying new construction and you want to work with a real estate agent such as myself, it's important that you have that conversation with them prior to visiting the model. But let me know your thoughts on the Falcon, but I gotta be honest, it's definitely currently my new favorite floor plan in Central Florida. But like I mentioned, before you go, we have to talk about Wyld Oaks. It's really what I think is going to be the development that begins the change for Northwest Orlando, specifically Apopka, improving the lifestyle of the many people that will and currently call it home. On just over 200 acres of land, we're expecting to see up to 200,000 square feet of office space, up to 200,000 square feet of retail and commercial space, a new hotel, just about 3,000 apartment units, and 2 major signature public park / green spaces, in which we should see America's greatest dog park, according to the developer, along with an expansive outdoor entertainment venue and tons of walking trails and biking trails throughout the community. Now, I am not a spokesperson for Wyld Oaks, and so let's hear from the developer himself on how he sees the project.
I think we all see these sorts of plans often in the newspapers and online, and they don't mean very much to me because they're never really in context. So what I wanted to do in the next few slides is to advance and overview some of the neighborhoods that are familiar to many of us in the region. This first is Baldwin Park and New Broad Street. The next slide is Celebration. And then the last is Winter Park. So what I've done here is I took the size, and this is all drawn to scale, of Winter Park, Celebration, and Baldwin Park. And each of those projects fit just inside of our town center.
Needless to say, this is an incredibly massive project that's coming to Apopka, and I really do believe it's going to be the catalyst that propels the retail and commercial growth in the area. And it's something that Apopka lacks, something that they need, and something everyone who both lives there now, and if you're considering moving there, it's going to be something you're looking forward to. And so I'm really excited to see what comes out of Wyld Oaks, not only in and of itself, but other investors, other developers following suit, as we see play out multiple times with many different neighborhoods across Central Florida. All in all, at the very least, I think Apopka is a very worthy compromise, and at the very best, you're buying into an area that has so much more to come and so much room to grow. So let me know your thoughts on Apopka, and if you're interested in buying a home in the Apopka area, I'd love to partner with you as your real estate agent. So feel free, shoot me an email, info@orlandowithmario.com, or if you want to reach me by other ways, those will be in the description down below. Thanks so much. See you next time.